What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, it's been quite some time since I actually went ahead and dabbled in an Assassin's Creed game. I used to love this franchise with all of my heart. I played them all the time back in the day. But it came to a certain point where it just wasn't really my vibe anymore. There's nothing wrong with the franchise. I mean, other people might have a lot more worse of opinions of the franchise than I do, but it just wasn't something that I wanted to play. But after hearing this most recent news, I gotta say, I am all back into giving Assassin's Creed once again another try. As you can see right here, I don't even think this is new. I think this actually came out a while ago. But for me personally, this is fresh. Ubisoft says Mirage will be a traditional Assassin's Creed, meaning that they're going back to the basic formulas. Now, again, like I said, I don't think the newer Assassin's Creeds are necessarily awful. It still has good gameplay, still, pretty decent combat, pretty much a lot of the stuff that you did enjoy Assassin's Creed 4. They're able to keep the majority of them in contact, but when it comes to the overall vibes, the atmosphere, the theme of what Assassin's Creed was always all about, they obviously completely drastically changed it. Now, of course, sometimes things like this have to be done. If a franchise is becoming overplayed, then clearly things need to switch up in order for it to stay successful. So I get where they tried to branch off with different styles of Assassin's Creed games when it comes to, time periods and what they're all about. With all honesty, you can only do, a specific formula so many times before it becomes repetitive. Look at Call of Duty for an example. I mean, the main thing keeping that game alive is Battle Royale now, because guess what? 6v6 has not really become anything special over the past years. So the developers decided to branch off and try new formulas to keep things fresh, not only for us, their consumers, but also for them as well. You gotta, keep in mind, these developers, they work constantly on these games. And to think that, this is all they ever do. They went into school to be creative, share their ideas, share their concepts. And, they're put into the actual field, and then they have to make the same replica of a game every single year. It gets a bit tedious. So switching up the time period, switching up, the events, switching up everything keeps it fresh for everybody all around. And I think that a lot of people are a tad bit worried. Not everybody, because again, I feel like a lot of the OG fans are stupidly excited, like I am. But there are a handful of people out there, who are scared for them to return to something that's more traditional Assassin's Creed style, because it's been done so many times. And just like how I explained, a minute ago, about how sometimes franchises need to switch up a little bit, a lot of people think if Assassin's Creed goes back, they won't be able to keep that popularity. It might bring a lot of OG people back, but will it help the overall franchise thrive? In my personal opinion, I think it really will. There was something so unique, interesting, engaging, and just fascinating about the OG Assassin's Creed titles. They were addicting and fun. And like I said, I'm not trying to knock, the more recent titles, especially if people out there enjoy them, which there are people out there who really do enjoy them. But at the end of the day, if I have to compare everything across the board, the maps, the quality, the combat, I would still much rather play the original Assassin's Creed games over the current day ones. There was just something about them back in the day. I mean, even current date, I can go back to these games and play the combat and just, absolutely dive into these experiences and love every last second, every last minute, every last hour of my time within these titles. And you know what? I don't think it really comes down to the combat or anything, for why I enjoy the older titles more than the current day titles. Because realistically, I feel like the combat in Assassin's Creed, like I said, even though I do enjoy the OG combat, I still don't think it's the most complex combat system known to mankind. You know what I'm saying? I think, personally, what really helped Assassin's Creed stand out from the rest of the crowd, especially other games that are similar to this style of combat, was just, like I said earlier, the time period, the events, the atmosphere, and the story that was being told. All of these components together made for an absolutely banging series, a banging franchise. And again, I feel like they tried to push off, and they thought they could maintain that atmosphere by going to different time periods and stuff like that. And, I guess they thought that the combat alone would be able to help carry the franchise as well. But realistically, I think it really does just come down to the actual story and the time period itself. But that is really the direction that I think the developers wanted to take. It seems like it was less about the story and the atmosphere and more about how many, time periods they can introduce their combat system into, because let's be real here, when it comes to fighting games, there's not the biggest catalog, and the catalog that's offered. A lot of these communities are very tight communities. It's not really, any franchises that are blowing up, that are massive, that are like, Call of Duty numbers or anything of that sort. They're good. They blow up, but at the end of the day, they usually condense back to their hardcore audience. You have things like, Mortal Kombat, For Honor. It's a lot of fighting games out there. But honestly, I really do think that Assassin's Creed, the way the developers were looking, or maybe the publishers were looking, they saw that they had a unique enough combat system with obviously good graphics, good engine. They have a AAA team. They have the workforce behind it. So why not put that combat into every single time period that is possibly known to mankind? That's honestly what I'm seeing out of the Assassin's Creed franchise recently, and that's why I stopped playing it personally, because I stopped feeling the passion and the love for the project, and I started seeing, like I said, them just spamming games of just random time periods at that point. And regardless if they turned out good or bad, again, it's just personal opinions. This is my own opinion. It doesn't mean anything. But when it comes to a brand new Assassin's Creed game coming out, to hear that they're going to be going back to their roots, that is what truly puts a smile on my face, because that is what I play Assassin's Creed for. And I do want to mention that I understand, the same devs working on For Honor and Assassin's Creed, so on and so forth. So it's hard to use those games as examples. But the point that I'm trying to make is that Assassin's Creed is almost being used and abused like the Call of Duty name. They know that Assassin's Creed is just a popular name to begin with. People understand it. People, when they see it, they automatically know what it is. They either heard someone else talk about it, a friend, a family member, a sibling. I don't know who it was, but more than likely, you know what Assassin's Creed is. So seeing that name, all I can think of is how many ways can we rebrand this name? And like I said, the moral of the story, that is what the ultimate trigger for me personally is when it comes to this franchise. I hate when franchises try to rebrand just for the sake of a cash grab. Now, of course, companies or games have been able to rebrand successfully before, but like I said, it takes passion. It's not something that's impossible. I'm not saying never rebrand your game, because some games need that in order to stay successful. It is what it is. But I hate when development teams or publishers don't take that route. And the only reason they want to rebrand is to try to keep the name as relevant as possible, as, talked about as possible, and make as much money as possible. And that is realistically when the majority of the awful spin-offs of these games start to come out. When the publishers begin to get greedy and they want to milk a popular franchise as much as possible. I really hope that they're not going to go ahead and take that route, because they will kill it. They will literally not kill it in a good way, but kill it in the worst way possible. You cannot go ahead and brag and boast about making a game that's going to be, close, if not, very similar to the OGs, and then not deliver on exactly that. Trust me, all of us are going to be paying very close attention to all the details within the next game. Trailers, gameplay, and when we actually get hands-on, and trust me, everybody's going to critique it very highly. I don't think anybody's going to be very, low-key with their critique. Maybe I will. I don't know. Like I said, who knows? Who knows? But I think a lot of the hardcore base, they're going to give it, they're all when it comes to reviewing it. So you cannot mess around in any way, shape, or form. But ladies and gentlemen, I am very curious on what all of your opinions are about this information right here. Do you enjoy more of the classic Assassin's Creed gameplay, or do you enjoy more of the more recent Assassin's Creed gameplay? Like I said, I'm not judging anybody if you enjoy the more recent stuff. It might be amazing. I haven't played it personally. So honestly, to give my 2 cents on the whole overall story is completely pointless. At the end of the day, like I said earlier, it's all my personal opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, of course, you are all allowed to have your own opinions as well. So please let me know. Do you want to see these, traditional Assassin's Creed style games come back? Are you excited for that? Do you think it will last? Do you think people will actually be able to dabble in it long enough to keep them interested? Or do you believe that if Assassin's Creed goes back to its roots, basically all the new people who have come to the franchise and everybody who is enjoying the new, changes to the Assassin's Creed franchise will basically leave, get up, be gone, and basically at the end of the day, that would hurt the franchise even more than basically, keeping it new and fresh as it is now. But like I said, leave your opinions down below. I'm very curious to read them all. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like button. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new, enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, want to chat with me, this too, we do so have a Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also want to catch me live streams of video games over on Twitch. Link that's in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you all next one. Peace out.